the best. Can I follow you around? I won't get in the way.
Stop talking already!
I have no time for your pathetic attempts at small talk. Now walk away before I get nasty.
I heard a rumor that you're an idiot. Any truth to that?
Look, a fly. Buzz, buzz. Hey, look, everybody. I'm talking to a fly. Buzz, buzz, buzz.
Do you happen to know what the fine is here in Cyrodiil for necrophilia? Just asking.
I've had enough. This is my story now.
For nigh on 2 decades, it's been tradition to bully the Adoring Fan. Need to join the Dark Brotherhood? Kill the Adoring Fan. Need to test a spell? Kill the Adoring Fan. Just looking to have a little fun? Kill the Adoring Fan. Even Bethesda is in on the joke. His own creator, can you imagine? This has been going on for so long, I imagine most of you don't even know why you hate him anymore. Is it because he's short? Because he's craven? Because his hair only exists on his hairline? Well, today that all changes. I'll be giving our dumb little devotee the opportunity to change everyone's mind. I plan to play the role of Guardian Angel and assist the Adoring Fan as he liberates Cyrodiil from the grasp of Mehrunes Dagon. But first, let's set some ground rules. Up until obtaining my boy, I cannot directly deal damage to any enemies using spells or weapons. After the arena is complete, the only one who can deal damage is the Adoring Fan. But it's no secret that his spine is weaker than jelly and his skin is thinner than paper. The game never really intended for him to be anything but a meat shield, but I've got at least 3 ideas that should turn this seemingly mundane follower into an absolute killing machine. Let's just jump on in and create my character.
Hit me once more, and I'll kill you!
This cone-headed cutie spends every waking moment at the arena. Therefore, he has no other choice but to survive on concession stand food, which, even though he's an elf, left him with the arteries of a 40-year-old American. This resulted in fatal heart disease way too early in life. His time in Cyrodiil was so profoundly unproductive, the Divines took pity and sent him back in time, on the condition that he would play the role of Guardian Angel and assist his younger self in shutting closed the jaws of oblivion. I give you the Adoring Man. As soon as the blades abandon me, I spend a few minutes leveling lockpicking, and then, further into the cave, I use the duplication glitch to max out alchemy. I get a few comments occasionally asking why I use exploits, and my answer is this: the game never intended for the Adoring Fan to complete the main story, so when faced with a seemingly insurmountable task, I find it prudent to use every single tool at my disposal. For example, I hit a wall near the end of the run, and without a certain lesser known exploit, I would have never been able to make this video in the first place. Be sure to stick around though until the end, because it's seriously the coolest glitch I've ever seen in this game. Now that I've breached the sewers, I need to focus on leveling all my schools of magic before attempting the arena. In the original game, I seem to remember that you could jump over the wall at the Arcane University to gain access to spellcrafting in the back. Skooma stacking isn't working, so now it's time to grind acrobatics. While spamming restore fatigue potions, I can stand under this sign and jump until acrobatics hits 100. Upon my return, I find a few ledges that I can jump on to reach the top, and god damn it, they added an invisible wall. Why? Why would they do that? What purpose does it serve? I'm sorry to derail the video this early, but I'm as petty as my forehead is large, and I took this personally. After leveling my sneak at the Skooma house in Breville, I started the Thieves Guild missions. Believe it or not, you can complete all of these missions without killing anyone. Even the quest with the Pale Lady. I just lured her into another room, then snuck the Argonian out of the castle. I continued the missions until I got the boots of Spring Hill Jack. With an additional 50 acrobatics, I've officially achieved a 10-foot vertical leap. Unfortunately, this still was not enough to jump the invisible wall. I really wish the paintbrush glitch still worked. Thankfully though, just like the duplication glitch, the concept still exists, just in a different form. They didn't give the Cyrodiilic brandy gravity, and while it doesn't work as well as paintbrushes, a deft hand can construct something one might call a platform. With the steed stone and a prayer, I finally make it over the wall. Oh, I did it. I did it. We're in. Oh dear God. We can make spells. No! Well, that was a complete waste of time. At least I got over the wall, okay? That is, in some way, a victory, albeit a small one. I eventually caved and just bought the candles for Frostcrag Spire. Have I mentioned how much I love the new magic leveling system? Because it's a lot. I love it a lot. It took only about an hour and a half to level every single school of magic to 100. I also leveled my character to 25 and purchased armorer upgrades in between sleeping. This will come in handy later. Now, if I can't attack with spells or weapons, how do I plan to beat the arena? Well, my dear friend, I plan to use enchantments. At level 25, the best equipment in the game begins to spawn, so it's time to farm reflect damage gear. If I had taken the tower birth sign, I could just craft these spells instead, saving myself like 8 hours of farming, but as you can tell, I don't really plan these runs. Deepscorn Hollow has arraignment with a fat 35%, but oh wait, I can't use that in the arena. I eventually ended up in Firelight Cave. This chest here seems to have a really good chance of spawning rings and amulets. After what seemed like a lifetime, I farmed both the Amulet of Axes and Swords, which together give 66%. Then for the remaining amount, I did the mission to obtain the Escutcheon of Coral. The ogres can be led back to Coral, where they'll die at the hands of the guards. Then, using the reflect damage enchantments I already have, the final ogre boss just ended up killing himself. Now, in order to get the effects from both the Amulet of Axes and Swords, I had to use the Enchantment Stacking glitch. I'd love to explain how to do it, but even after using it for all this equipment, I really just don't know. So I'll link a video in the description instead. Finally, with over 100% reflect damage, I should be able to beat the arena by just standing still. The first combatant dies easy enough, but as some of you may have already predicted, the second foe uses a bow, which does not reflect damage. I tried breaking his weapon so he would punch me or pick up a different one. I tried jumping out of bounds to find some way to circumvent the fight entirely. I did this by doing the unlimited Magicka glitch and casting a stupid amount of Fortify acrobatic spells. I was hoping for a door or something that would lead out of here and force the mission to be over, but I found nothing. I even tried pickpocketing him, which the game doesn't allow for some reason. As a last resort, I paralyzed him twice, which seems to break his AI and he just stands still. Then I made a Cyrodiilic Brandy cage with steps leading up to the fire pit. You do not want to know how long this took. My thought process was that the fire would kill him slowly. But even though it seems to damage me, it does not damage him. Oblivion physics, you gotta love them. I really didn't want to do this, but having no other choice, I summoned a Daedra to kill him. I don't consider this a violation of the rules because I myself did not directly deal damage to him, the summon did. The Daedra has its own health bar, its own stats, and its own spells. But if you disagree, or if you found a way to circumvent this, please let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts. The remaining fights went as expected, and funny enough, the Grey Prince does the most damage, so he died the quickest. At last, the arena is complete, and I come face to face with my younger self.
Wow, you're the grand champion. I saw your fight against the Grey Prince. You're the best. Can I follow you around?
In combat, the Adoring Fan is a regular Sam the Slayer. The moment an enemy aggroes, he fills his jorts with hot piss and runs for the hills. Thankfully, Oblivion already has a spell that gives cowards the courage of your average steed. That spell is Rally, and I seriously have no clue where this would ever be useful outside of this exact situation. But who am I to look a gift armored horse in the mouth? You may notice that he carries a knife, but regardless of this fact, the Adoring Fan prefers a good old rough and tumble. And honestly, I respect that about him. Unfortunately, courage and fisticuffs still aren't quite enough, and I find that anything stronger than a mud crab crumples the kid. When his health hits 0, he pretends to be dead, and after roughly 3 days, he respawns. This is where my first real strategy comes in. I call it
Where are you? He was here. Where are you?
To ensure I'm not being attacked by enemies, I enchant 5 pieces of gear to achieve 100% chameleon, allowing me to stay out of conflicts entirely. This gave me the idea to do the same for my blonde baby boy. Funny enough, in spellcrafting, you can create a max strength chameleon spell that works on touch. This only gives 88%, but if you stack 2 of them, you can give the Adoring Fan PETA levels of camouflage. I also crafted a shield/rally spell to make sure he stays in combat combat for as long as possible. Holy shit, this is actually working. I think we can start the Siege of Kvatch now. I also had to hotkey my Chameleon Amulet so that flashing an enemy pulls its aggro and causes my boy to begin combat. With full Chameleon, he can attack an enemy without them ever even knowing he's there. This is completely overpowered, and I'm here for it. He'll take a bit of reflect damage on occasion, but as long as I keep him healed, he can kill just about anything in the game. Granted, I don't accidentally use these spells on the enemy and turn them into an invisible killing machine. The first Oblivion Gate is completed with little to no issues. The only problem now is that Kvatch at level 25 is filled with so many high-level Daedra, it's not even funny. Getting through the town is one thing, but the courtyard, I mean, dear God, look at this. If all these enemies were to aggro, assuming my PC didn't crash, we would be obliterated in seconds. The odds may not be in our favor, but this little guy just does not stop. One after another, he takes down each and every single enemy in Kvatch, and I mean every enemy. Sure, we could just run through most of this, but if my boy's gonna be the hero of Kvatch, he needs to earn that title. After, not kidding, a full hour of watching an invisible hobbit punch demons to death, Kvatch has finally been liberated. As a viewer, I can't imagine this strategy is the least bit entertaining to watch, so let's do some testing and find other ways to make this even more broken. My next theory will require a certain staff obtained at the end of the Mages Guild quest. Completing the missions is easy enough when you have a virtually indestructible follower. This part always makes me laugh. I can't help but think there was another way to fill that soul gem. Oh my god, look at his calves! That's why he was the Archmage! He had calves like no one else. However, what I did not predict was this little island where you fight Mannimarco. Since the Adoring Fan can't jump, my boy is stuck on the other side. His biggest challenge yet is terrain, the one thing he can't punch his way through. Having a rare big brain moment, I just left through the exit, then walked back in, spawning him next to me. The killing blow was pretty funny. Punched his ass right into the fire. And here it is, the Worm King's Staff, one of two ways in Oblivion to bring people back from the dead. I'm not exactly proud of this next part, but I'm gonna need you to die now, friend. The plan is to fill his corpse with armor and weapons, hoping he'll equip them when he returns from hell. I don't know how this was never tested, but the staff in the current state of the game is not working. Someone on Reddit said it has something to do with the animation, I don't know. Thankfully, as is the Bethesda tradition, a mod author was able to fix this. Once his body is reanimated, it will equip the weapon, but not the armor. And after a measly 30 seconds, he just returns to dust. Even with the staff operating the way it should, this is just not optimal compared to the prior strat. Also, it wouldn't feel right patching in a fix for this, but not the other glaring exploits I've been using. So I'm just going to remove the mod and scrap the idea. Instead, let's try a different, hopefully functioning Daedric staff, the Skull of Corruption. Ermina's quest is laughably easy, and the Staff of Corruption is acquired within minutes. When an NPC is hit with the staff, it creates a clone that immediately turns hostile against its original form. This means I can have two adoring fans at the same time for 30 seconds, with the only issue being that they're trying to kill each other. After a bit more testing, I found that the clone loses aggro if the adoring fan has full chameleon. This does not, however, stop the original form from trying to kill the clone. Turns out, Command Humanoid can turn both into a sort of thrall, causing them to turn their animosity on my foes instead of each other. This means I now have a viable method of creating two adoring fans that fight side by side. I also tested a spell for Fortify Hand to Hand and Fortify Strength. It does seem to increase the damage of his punches, although it's not quite as much as I had hoped. With this, I can continue the main story and meet up with Boris.
I'm going to get up in a minute and walk out of here.
Okay. Damn! Big hit! Finding the 4 copies of the Mythic Dawn books proves easy enough, and with 4 flying fists of fury, the twins take down Raven Cameron and all his lackeys. The cultist in the cave die pretty fast when they've been silenced, allowing us to easily obtain the Mysterium Xarxes. I'm beginning to approach the quest where I have to go and get Tiber Septim's armor, and as we are now, we have no way of killing the plethora of ghosts that guard it. This, of course, brings me to my third and probably my favorite strategy. Before we can play Ghostbusters, the Bean needs a Daedric artifact for the portal to Paradise, the spies need to die, and yet another Oblivion Gate falls to the Goldenrod twins. When I handed over Sanguine's staff, Martin had some interesting dialogue.
I never thought to see this again. I once possessed it, briefly. A lifetime ago, it seems now. To obtain it and then give it up. I honor your dedication to our cause.
Why did he have the staff of a Daedric prince? Was the younger Martin a party animal? I don't know, but it's interesting nonetheless. As mentioned earlier, the ghosts in Tiber Septim's tomb are immune to physical damage, but with some help from the Daedric Prince of Madness and a little bit of luck, I can use the Wabbajack to turn them into something much more manageable.
There you go. Get him. It's just a goblin. Yes, it worked. One punch, dude. One punch man over here. Good job, buddy.
The staff in its current state of the game doesn't seem to affect humans, but thank God it works on just about anything else. It's a massive gamble though, since anything that's not a rat, goblin, or troll just runs out the 10-second timer. Slowly but surely, me and the adoring fan work our way through the tomb, morphing anything that moves into a sniveling rat. The armor has finally been recovered, and it's time to fetch the Great Welkin Stone. Nothing to report here, just grab the stone and leave. Now, King Craft has already attempted this run 2 years ago in the original game. His video is linked in the description if you're interested in seeing his take on it. King had the genius idea of reverse pickpocketing loot onto the adoring fan, but in order to put something in the inventory of an NPC, it has to have a weight of 0. Most things in the game that have 0 weight don't do much in the way of protection, like the mage's hood. However, if you cast bound armor and weapons on your character, then repair it past 100, hence the 100 armorer from earlier, you can drop the equipment on the ground, and when the timer runs out, you're left with 0 weight Daedric armor and weapons. I went ahead and enchanted the armor with Fortify Health and made a ton of daggers with frost damage. When you place the equipment in his inventory, he instantly equips the dagger and uses it. But for him to put the armor on, I found that the only consistent way to force this is to walk in and out of a city, like Bruma. For some godforsaken reason, if you fast travel into a city, his inventory completely resets and deletes the items. So moving forward, I will be walking everywhere. I gotta say, this man is absolutely aura farming. With only a few story quests left, it's time to obtain the Great Sigil Stone. As my frames drop into oblivion, the adoring fan starts to rip and tear through the flesh of hundreds of Daedra. I can also cast a weakness to magic and weakness to frost spell onto the enemies, allowing the adoring fan to kill most things in just a few hits. While inside the Great Gate, a random fireball nearly melts my boy in a single hit. One after another, each and every Daedra inside the Great Gate of Oblivion meets their end at the hand of the adoring fan. With the Great Sigil Stone in my grasp, it's time to go to Paradise. From the moment I started this playthrough, I had a feeling this would happen eventually. It appears that followers cannot come with you to Paradise. I tried using Demoralize to see if he would retreat into the portal. I tried aggroing him to see if he would follow me. I tried having a bandit kill him, then waited 4+ days inside Paradise, hoping he would respawn. Something about the portal just doesn't let anyone except your character interact with it. I cannot tell you how devastated I was. I made it this far only to be stopped at the finish line. For hours, I searched the internet looking for something, anything that would allow my baby boy to follow me through this portal. Then it hit me. I am the adoring fan. I'm just 20 years older with cholesterol-filled veins. If I can create a copy of myself, then theoretically the adoring man would be able to complete Paradise. If you find a nice cave with an NPC near the entrance, you can hit them with a short-lived 100% reflect spell. Then back far away and shoot them with the Skull of Corruption. Before the projectile reaches its target, and after the animation for the staff has ended, drop the staff from your inventory. Once the projectile reaches its target, the spell will be reflected, creating a copy of your character. Just quickly use Dominate Person on the clone and make sure they kill the NPC before the 30-second timer runs out. Then quickly dash for the door. Once you leave with the Skull of Corruption still left behind in the cave, you will have a permanent copy of yourself as a follower. How cool is that?
Yes! Yes! Oh, I can't believe it. It actually worked. Here I am, a clone of myself, a permanent clone of the adoring fan. I can't believe it worked. I cannot begin to even explain how absolutely elated I am right now.
They can fight and attack and cast spells just as you can. I'm pretty sure that fast traveling will delete them forever, so just don't do that. Now, the only problem is I need to get through that cave to reach the end of the level. Well, I just so happened to discover that if you stack a ton of Fortify acrobatic spells and jump on these rocks that are located just above and to the left of the entrance, you can find a break in the invisible wall and trigger a failsafe that spawns you at Mankar Cameron's castle. Then walk back into the cave, do the clone exploit, and hope you kill this guy fast enough before the 30-second timer runs out. When you leave the cave again, your clone will follow. Is this a violation of the rules? Probably, but what other choice did I have? I'll let you be the judge. For now, I'm gonna sit back and watch the adoring man destroy Mankar Cameron. Once Paradise falls to pieces, my clone and the Staff of Corruption is left behind forever. My baby boy is patiently waiting for me when I get back, and now we just have to witness Martin's ascension. I can't fast travel or all the equipment on the adoring fan will disappear, so I guess I'm hoofing it.
I'm coming, Imperial City!
Man, I just love this game so much. Cyrodiil gets a new emperor, and I watch as my baby boy cuts down the last few Daedra. And there it is. The adoring fan has successfully saved all of Cyrodiil, gaining the fame, fortune, and power that he deserves. He didn't get a chance to 1v1 Mehrunes Dagon earlier, so let's spawn him in. Yeah. That makes sense. Hey, thanks for making it to the end of the video. It's been a long-term goal and of course a dream of mine to one day hit 100k subs on this channel, and we are so very close. So if you enjoy challenge runs and fantasy RPGs, why not consider subscribing? Did the button light up? It's supposed to light up, I think. Anyways, huge thank you to the members. I appreciate you so very much for supporting the channel. Members get a shout out in each video and a members badge. So if you're interested in joining, check the description for more details. I'll see you all in the next one. Later.